with Wirecast today.
Wirecast, what is that?
It lets you stream through YouTube, and it's got all the hooks for doing the encoding and everything. But the learning curve was just too sharp for me to do that at 3:30 and think I'd be ready to have it going and stable by 7.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm just trying to plan ahead for when Hangouts goes away. So, but I'm close to just going ahead and buying a subscription to Zoom. Because I've been using that for other stuff, and that's been real solid.
I've been thinking about Zoom. I saw that normally the recording will only last for, or the call itself will only last for like 40 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's like so little time. I
was going to buy the paid subscription where you get a couple gigs of storage also with it. It's like $99 to buy the year up front.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that and sharing it, some credentials with the Misdirected Mark Network to use if they like set up a Misdirected Mark email for me. I would use that, and then you guys would be able to use it for Zhang Hu and whatever else.
That's pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, because we're looking for something to use for the Wednesday evening podcast too. Because it's clear you can't trust Google to keep anything around anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Jerks. Have you, so you want to not just record it, but you also want to stream it live?
I don't know if I want to stream it live with 4 followers or something I have. I don't really care about that, but by running it through the encoder, I know YouTube's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it would be stored out there, and I don't have to purchase an online storage package, YouTube, just because they can monetize, in theory, whatever content's out there.
Right. Yeah.
Unless we get real gay.
Okay, well, let's step it up, guys.
Goal set.
Okay, so do we need a recap or oh, that's right, it was your birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So like you're what, 35?
44.
Really?
Yep.
Kevin, you flatterer.
What? Never say go big.
No.
Saying someone's age.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just assume everybody is my age, no matter what. And
I just assume everyone's younger than me.
I think I am younger than everybody.
Yeah, I think you am.
Let me go get some water really quick, and then I'll be ready to go.
In fact, I'll do a Kristen and go grab a spare water to have ready here. Everyone go get extra beverages.
Shoot.
I'm just going to stick with this half glass of water.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it was enough work to get this one. I'm going to wait.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wow. Yep. Things have been weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, doing the school thing, and then now I'm adjusting to these meds. So.
Oh yeah.
It's fun when a bunch of like projects start piling up, and I'm like, okay, just keep it together.
Right.
Whittle away at it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Now's a great time to change everything. Yeah.
Or are we changing stuff? Is that what's going on? Okay.
Look, we weren't talking to you, Kurtz. Get out of here.
Oh, okay. I'll just see you later.
Just watch that replay later. You'll find it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good to go.
Okay. So do we need a recap, or is everyone pretty much good to go?
I glanced over your not that half-assed recap.
Well,
and
the half-assed was referring to the initial.
Oh, okay.
Other sections are not even half-assed, and other sections are nearly full-assed.
Nearly full ass is my goal in life.
3 cheeks worth.
Yeah. I just think it's like, since it's been a little while from me, like anytime where there's like might be like a little like dissonant because someone's cognitive dissonance on what happened, just kind of help talk me through it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Feel like I'm going to be remembering stuff a little weird, and I'm just open to talking about it.
Yep. So, oh my god.
And also, like, it's been like 2 months since I've played with you.
The best 2 months this group has ever seen.
You shut your filthy whore mouth.
That's it. We're going to have a throwdown at Forge.
No, I got to miss it.
So
it's just going to be me and Kevin flirting awkwardly all weekend. It's going to
oh, no. You promised empanadas.
Oh, yeah. There definitely will be empanadas.
Okay.
Does that not count as flirting?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's not awkward at all.
Oh, you've got a bit of sauce.
Yeah.
So episode 11 picked up in that semi-imaginary plaza / square area in the old downtown where it transitions into cobblestone streets. And we had picked up where the Howler had barreled into the side of Colin's Volvo, knocked it over. Shar and Colin were hanging unconscious in the car. And what's her name? I guess I can look here. God, Olivia, who didn't have a seatbelt on, was just laying collapsed in the car. And Levi and Brittany were walking back from down by the river where they had just made out. So you've got the imprint on Brittany now, Levi.
Uh-huh.
And the Howler basically didn't care about the car. It just happened to be in its way. And it saw you and Brittany and let out a huge howl. And you like closed up with it. And I have no idea why, but you decided you were just going to straight up like try to give it an uppercut or punch it.
Yep.
And it kind of didn't even really move its head. And it just like slapped you aside and you took some harm. And Brittany rightfully freaked out and screams and runs away. And the animal instinct of the Howler is like, well, I got to chase what's running, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's when you decided the only thing you could possibly do was to bear out and try to save Brittany. And you got between the Howler and that. Back at the car, Shar had come to, saw that Colin was out, and Gail had come into that plaza area at that point, and she didn't see the Howler hit the car and take it over, but she saw the Howler and the grizzly, and she missed the transformation, right, Gail?
Yeah, I missed the transformation. I also thought for some reason that we were in a field instead of in a plaza. So
no, it was old cobblestone. So there's New Branson and Old Branson, and there's like where a new hotel went in. And it's weird. It's got this old part of Branson, a sandwich between new development and then the strip. It makes no sense, but it is what it is.
My imagination is unraveling by the word. This is incredible. My entire world is changing.
All an illusion.
Okay, cool. So we were in a square a plaza. That's good. But yeah, I hadn't.
You don't
really
have to go far from there to be out of the town. It's a really weird area.
Yeah, because I remember I kind of emerged from a tree line whenever that happened, and so
and that might have been over in the Riverside area. So you would have walked a couple blocks through transition area, and you had heard the howls, and it attracted you.
Yeah, but then I showed up and I helped Charlotte get Colin and Brittany, right? Brittany,
Olivia.
Olivia out of the car, and the fight was going on between Levi and the Howler. And then I don't think anything especially. Well, I guess I did summon those like fire moths to piss off.
You
Levi.
decided that Shar still needed to have more pain and suffering because she didn't keep her promise to come by and visit that night. So you set the car on fire. You basically burned a string on that.
Whoops.
And then in a panic, Shar kicked out the windshield and dragged Colin out the front of the car. The car blew up as soon as you guys had Olivia and Colin clear of it.
But we're forgetting the best part.
Yes, we're coming up on it. So the bear tries to grab the Howler by the neck, but the Howler's just too well built and can't get the jaws closed on it and moves too fast maybe. And the Howler just basically turns and takes a few steps from Levi's bear form and leaps over the burning car. And the bear hesitates for a moment and then sees closer to itself Olivia, Colin, and Shar. And Levi specifically's inside voice said, "That Colin dude looks like the most boring and easiest to eat." And you basically, that's when Gail saw you charging them, and she tried to do this stream of moths out of the palm of her hand, botched that, and Shar saw that and heard the Fae voices saying this like kind of incantation in the background. And that's when she clued in that Gail was yet another just not a human. And because that failed, you just basically swatted Colin down on your way through to go after the Howler and went off outside of town chasing the Howler.
Yeah, I took the path of boring resistance. Just
yeah, that's the weakest part of the Weir skin is the fact that it's when you go darkest self, if you're not near everyone or as a player you don't want to kill your fellow players PCs, it gets you out of the action for a while. Meanwhile, Gail and Olivia and Shar realize Colin is dead and does not look like there's any way in the world he can come back. You can hear sirens off in the distance, and some of the above store apartment lights are coming on. And you guys decide to get out of there before you get caught up and get more trouble. And let's see. So you guys went to your new spot where you have the Airstream trailer. And we established the fiction that every time wherever you set the trailer up, that it always has that moss area around it. And there's this tree that no matter what, that one tree is always there. And you didn't let the girls into the Airstream, but you brought out some blankets and a one-hitter in a bag. And you guys started passing the pipe around. Actually, we didn't even say if Olivia had a hit.
No, I think she was asleep already.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because she had been jacked up by her mom and them in a car accident. Yep, that's right. And Shar got higher than whatever because it was the first time that she'd ever done weed. And she just blabbed everything she knew about everyone to Gail, and then also made the promise that she would be nice to you if you would stop hitting on Drake because Drake is hers. Meanwhile, our werebear was chasing through, heard a roar in the distance. The roar was not the howl of the Howler. It sounded familial. Shortly after that, a couple trank darts hit you in the shoulder area, Levi,
Mm-hmm.
and you passed out, transformed back to human, but were still dark as self. Your uncle's there with you. He's like, I'm going to get you home. Calm down. You refuse to calm down and basically threatened to just jump out of the truck while he was starting to move. He let you out, argued with you, could not reason with you because dark as self. And you basically flipped him the finger and said, I got to go finish this. And he's like, but the sun will be coming up soon. And you're like, whatever. And you chase the howler through the wilderness area around there, scared off a whole bunch of cattle, maybe even killed a couple cattle, and tracked the howler down. You picked up a couple other scents along the way. And what you could tease out using your heightened senses is that while they didn't smell just like the howler, so it's like some sort of different species, they were related. There's some underlying, scent that tied those three together as family. And you knew that family was even more dangerous to you than the howler on its own was. And then as you were following along the river, you got to a spot where it was like a lazy turn and it had a pool there. And on the other side of the river, you saw the howler and it turned around and howled at you. And that's right when the sun came up over the trees and hit you. And you involuntarily transformed back to human, collapsed right on the edge of the pool with like one hand reaching out into it. And the howler just turned around and went into the brush. And then we had the big drone shot looking down on Levi's buff, naked body laying there next to the river. And that's where we wound up. Did I miss anything?
I don't know how much Jim stuff we're going to deal with.
Oh, right, Jim. I forgot to bring it up because he's not here.
Right.
So Colby was separate from all of you guys because you hadn't been able to find him a short while before that. And it turns out he was at the truck stop, the Flying J, at the diner there. And while he's pretending to have his omelet and seeking some human interaction, he basically like feels something try to join his network and looks over, and coming in the door is this good looking, really well put together young African American woman. And their eyes lock and they just know that they have similarities. And she basically walks over and goes, you screwed up. You're not keeping a low profile. What are you even doing here? And she thought he was playing dumb and he refused to trust her. We later find out her name is Francesca. And so she's like, fine, you don't want to go with me and like try to work some things out here. Whatever. I'll catch you later. And she starts walking off and he runs after her. And he finds out over the course of a drive down closer to Table Rock to where she has an apartment that he has 3 siblings, learns that the name of one of them is Kane, the third one's unnamed, and that they all have been wiped multiple times by their parents and were all playthings for their parents. What playthings means hasn't been defined yet, but they weren't allowed to leave. They escaped, and that happened when Kane somehow took the parents out. And it's not the way the conversation goes. It sounds like the parents weren't killed. They were just either knocked out, incapacitated, separated, whatever. And the construct family just basically everyone ran their separate direction with whatever memories they did have. And because of all the hoo-ha that happened with the attempted kidnapping of Colby, and it even made it up for a short while to national news and came back down, Francesca had come back to town to track him down and tell him to cut his shit out and get back on the down low. And it basically ended the night with him staying in her apartment. He had sent out a text just before they drove off, basically saying, I have a sister, might be being kidnapped. If you don't hear from me in X hours, come looking for me. And then right before he went to bed, well into repair mode, he sent another text out saying, I'm cool, I'll catch you tomorrow. So I think that, did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the Drake side of things, the episode previous is when you had your awesome All Along the Watchtower epic
Right.
15 or 20-minute jam with, oh, good grief,
Maddie and Lizzie.
Maddie and Lizzie. And you heard roars and sirens in the distance, which would have coincided with about when the Howler hit the Volvo. So I guess what I'd like to do, if you're okay with it, Drake, is what would you be doing at this point? Would you just be like, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any particular agenda for, and nobody involved is in my gang, so I didn't have streaming or anything.
Let's see, is Shar no longer one of them?
No, because we broke up, and it still says she is, but I think that needs to get.
So, yep, okay, I'm gonna remove that.
Okay.
Actually, let's go through conditions and see if we need to remove any of them. Let's see. Drake, are you still anxious, or was that alleviated by rebonding with your remaining group?
I think it was alleviated because they sort of put me back up on my pedestal.
Levi, you passed out, so you obviously would come to later. So I think out of control is gone. I think bitter might be a default state for you for a while. Does that sound right? Or is that maybe better now that you had time with Brittany?
I feel like out of control still holds true more than because.
Oh, really?
Well, because of the interaction with my uncle, and then they just told me kill those. Everyone else would see me as out of control. I don't know about.
Oh, right.
I think like bitter might be the one that would go away.
Okay. Let's see. Shar, insecure, psycho, conflicted. Well, psycho and conflicted for sure. So they're an insecure, I think, just the way she talks about Drake and her fear of Gail's power over Drake. Let's see. We'll skip Colby and Gail overshares.
I think.
I mean, that was a new one. She just got that one.
Yeah, I did just get it. I think I should stick with it for a little while.
Okay. So what I'm thinking of doing here with this episode is actually doing a time skip ahead a week or two. If everyone's okay with that, as long as no one feels like they had anything they wanted to resolve right away. So I'll basically say that you and the girls, you had your powwow and sharing Gail. Eventually Shar passes out, and the next morning she and Olivia maybe come to, and you've already moved the Airstream somewhere else.
Oh, so they just wake up like in a forest or something.
Yep, just in a clearing. Maybe it's got the toadstools around the edge or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be a classic fairy circle. Levi, you had woken up at the edge of the pool. You're scraped up, bloody, your ribs. The fracture is back on that. Hold on one second. I got a cough here.
Can I add an idea to what happens when the Airstream is moved?
Yes, please.
So I think they wake up in the place in the forest where the Airstream was located, but they think they've been transported to a different place.
Oh, sure, because the moss is gone, the tree is gone.
Yeah, well, and like they walked into this place earlier, so they should know that they're in the same place, but their memory has been toyed with to think that they're in a part of the forest that they don't recognize.
Yeah, well, Olivia doesn't remember much, and she's going to attribute that probably to head injuries from her mom in the car. And Char's just like, well, I blazed it up more than anyone ever has done, obviously.
Oh, Charlotte.
Did since if I passed out in that area,
Yep.
do you want to do something else with me besides me waking up? And I don't know.
I think I don't know. So when you came to, it's a Friday morning, but you're, I think, still on like some sort of weird suspension.
Because I guess it just depends.
I think you probably wander home.
Yeah, if I don't know, if
or you might be able to track Gail down.
They had the agenda. I don't know where we specifically I was or what was happening there. But if I would have woke up on my own by the thing, I would do my bear marking of that territory, like scratch up some trees, rub on it so I remember where it is, and then make my way back to where I was,
Yep. And I'm gonna presume your uncle just does the whole I'm really disappointed in you. You need to grow up, you need to mature, you've got all this power, and basically makes you feel, or tries to make you feel bad about yourself. That might not be his intent, but that's definitely the buttons he's pushing on, is like a lack of self-worth and maybe that whole lack of self-control, and that it's going to be nothing but trouble. And that's how things like what happened to your mom.
Yeah, so I think it'd be,
and he pushes that blame again.
If there's that back and forth conversation, I was like, you're telling me what to do, but you're not telling me how to do it.
Right.
Kind of a thing where it's like, if there's that kind of a conversation. So
yeah, it's just like, here's all these weaknesses, you should do better. Not like, so I've recognized that you aren't patient, so here's some ways you can be more. None of that.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. It's like, calm down. Thank you. I will try to calm down.
And Drake, I think you just like, you show up at school the next day, you and the girls are like high fives and cool kids, and you're giants walking the halls of Branson High School.
That's right. Remember when this show was set in a high school?
So over this intervening couple of weeks, so yet another person has died in town. There's been cattle mutilations. There was a hiker that was killed a few days ago. There's been an attempted kidnapping. The town is just up in frickin' arms. All the fundamentalist preachers, it's fire and brimstone, it's the gays, it's the Democratic Socialist Alliance, it's, the Democrats, the liberals, the moral decay of America are being visited by the plagues. All that shit's going on, even at what you would call regular churches like Methodist and Baptist churches are verging into, even the Lutheran church is doing fire and brimstone. It's bad when they're doing it. So that whole atmosphere is going on. And now there's rumors in the town, the vigilante group has formed to protect the citizens and to root out these troubles. And word is they're going by the name of the Bald Knobbers. And the Bald Knobbers were a real thing.
Oh, yeah. I know
they were.
After the Civil War. And they were vigilantes. And they were like kind of like the anti-Ku Klux Klan. But they were terrorists in the way they administered justice. And these guys are actually, they're doing the pillowcases with the horns, with the black and white stripes on the horns and stuff. And Taserface. What?
I was thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I don't know. Oh, wait, I did. But I don't remember what Taserface is.
He's one of the characters, and he takes over the ship from, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I just hate it when I don't know a pop culture reference. Yeah. I feel so old.
Like, it's the coolest name ever, and everyone was like, "No."
Okay.
Rocket's like snickering about it, and that's how I feel about the Bald Knobbers.
Well, you would join them if you couldn't get into the Lions Club or the Optimist Club. You'd be a Bald Knobber. Admit it.
Absolutely.
So anyways,
Eric loves to knob balds.
I like him. I like my knobs bald.
Yes, that's a really good photo of the bald knobbers. So that's going on. And let's see. Everyone's parents, except for yours, Gail. Your dad is like MIA.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't heard anything from your cousins, Snuffus or Howler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Would you have tried to reach out to the Howler, or is it just like, oh, Howler being Howler, and it's just, yeah, Fey life?
I think Gail doesn't like to spend time. I think she finds that side of her family to be really embarrassing. And
they're not conflict free, no fair trade.
No, well, like actually, that's the values that she carries from them. But she doesn't like how like mean they are to each other. And
court intrigue type stuff.
Yeah, and that's another thing that she took from them, and she hates it about herself.
Oh, so you do have the sharp knife and know how to use it in court intrigues, but you like feel bad about what you've done.
Yeah,
sort of for a moment at least.
It's like
and then blame them.
It's a real Veronica angle, Gail can go full dark, no stars, but she doesn't want to.
Wait, which Veronica? Mars or Lodge?
Lodge, yeah.
Okay. Wow, there's two cool Veronicas in pop culture. Drake, on your side, your parents are flipping out because their life is revolved around you.
Right.
And they're like, it's not safe for you to go out and do band practice, or the girls can come over, but we'd really rather you don't go. They are cramping your lifestyle like nobody's business.
Why are parents the worst?
And the schools brought in a grief counselor. And I added her on the classroom NPC page. It's Clarice Orsman. She's down underneath the photo of the Pierces underneath the classroom diagram.
I can hear her voice now.
So she's providing support services to the students who truly are shaken by Colin's bizarre, meaningless death, and those who just want someone to perform for, to show how brokenhearted they are when it's all fake, which you see a lot of times. They might not know it's fake. It's really weird how teenagers are. But she's like poking her nose into everyone's life. And she's actually the counselor you're supposed to see, Levi, to work on your anger management issues. And she also has visited with some of the parents who have been really concerned, and were kind of, they approached the principal, and the principal is kind of like, well, why don't you talk with our grief counselor? I mean, she wasn't hired to be a grief counselor, but that's what the role she's serving in. And she's like, they can maybe help you as a family come up with some coping strategies. And Drake, your parents have had Clarice over for dinner, and it's been like way awkward with your dad doing bizarre organic, dinners, and asking about like, what can we do to get Drake's chakras properly aligned, because it's obvious they're all out of whack. He's been so moody. It's obviously shaking him up. Colin was part of the band, and he's acting like it's no big deal. And so it's been bad. And there's
been a lot of doors slamming in Drake's household.
More so than usual. And Levi, she shows up always at the worst possible time. You and your uncle might be out back doing some, bow practice or whatever, and she'll just come around the corner of the house. Oh, Levi, thought we could, and I don't know how do you think Levi would react to that? Because the school basically said, you need to work on your anger and fitting in. And so the way she's very kumbaya, not as out there as Drake's dad, but she's very much, let's get in touch with the feelings. Let's talk about things. Always, how does that make you feel when you say something? And how does that make you feel? Kids joke about that.
So she's making house calls to me?
Oh, yeah.
Because I haven't been going to school right now.
You haven't been going to school, and one of the conditions for you to come back is to get counseling. And since you haven't come in to get the counseling because you're out of control, she decided she'd bring the counseling to you.
Yes. And then...
And let's go ahead and say that she actually got in touch with Mato. Or Mato. And Mato is basically like, he set you up. Basically to be ambush counsel. Almost like an intervention, but not quite.
Okay, and then the other thing that's going on is my mom is in the hospital.
Yep, so, and she's making good progress now. She's like in the rehab section now, and she'll be coming home in a day or two.
Yeah.
Okay, -1 experience for horrible puns.
I was surprised it took us that long to do that.
Well, I've had you bare ass several times at least. So.
True. I guess I would imagine. So if he also was in on it, then it's like we're on the patio. Like if the post session has happened and then he looks at me as like time to sit down, then I walk over to the patio and pull out a seat and go, let's get this over with. That's how I would approach it.
Okay, so you're just going to bite the bullet. And she's like, Levi, there's a lot of people who are worried about you. And we're worried that something bad's going to happen if you don't learn how to deal with your anger in a more constructive way than just lashing out. Do you know how your actions affect others? How others can be hurt by your anger? And, you know, that flash of, in your memory of you just smacking Colin down the time you hit Shar, you know, a little montage of those things goes through your head.
So, yeah. It affects people.
Do you want to try to control that? Do you care if you hurt other people?
Yeah, I do. I don't know how to do it.
How do you feel afterwards when you have calmed down and realized that you've hurt others?
If it doesn't feel good.
Well, that's good. That's healthy then.
Yeah.
What we need to try to do is to front load some of that recognition before the actions trigger off. And she's going to pull out this book about mindfulness and go, you know, I'd like you to go through this book. And then she hands you a workbook and she's like, go through that. And you don't have to have anyone with it. And I'm not going to check your work. I can help you if you find that some things in this are too difficult to, not saying you can't comprehend, but to figure out how to execute on them. I've worked with a lot of troubled youth over the years in various places. And I found that this approach generally works. Now, nothing is one size fits all. If this feels like it won't work for you, we'll find something else. But are you willing to at least try to get a handle on this?
And I look at her and glance off to the side to see my uncle kind of hovering around the corner.
Very earnest, worried look on his face.
Yeah. I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'm not in school right now, so I might as well give myself some homework.
Yep. Now, it's not the sort of thing you power through the book in one day. This takes time. It's got exercises to follow. And she hands you a card with her cell phone number written in pen on the back, because it just has the school's number and her direct dial there. She's like, anytime you need anything, you can text, you can call. She's like, oh, and then she puts down her snap. You can snap me, that then it'll go away. But I just want you to know that your uncle really cares about you. I know your mother really cares about you. I believe you have a girlfriend at school, Brittany. She asks about you.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Yeah. Little. And she's like, I just want you to be better. This town needs to be better. There's just too much anger in this town. Vigilantes running around, people dying, drugs. It's not good.
All right, well, maybe you can make a difference. And I'll get up and go, thank you.
And out of the corner of your eyes, you see her give a thumbs up to Uncle Mato as she goes away. Oh, and for those of you who have harm, you can reduce it by 1 since it's been a week. I'll go ahead and reduce Shars here.
Cool.
Oh, Gail, I haven't hurt you yet, have I? Physically or emotionally. This is no good.
Nope. Yeah, I'm feeling really strong and confident right now, and it feels weird.
So in this intervening time, do you show up at school like for an art class or anything just to see how people are reacting? Or
yeah,
what do you think that Gail would be up to alleviate the borbodom?
So I think
being
that
alone.
In years past, Gail has made it to school, 2 or 3 days a week. And in the past 2 weeks, she's only been to school once. And it was a really kind of, static, sort of closed off day where she didn't talk to many people. And people have seen her, like they'll be at the coffee shop and they'll see her riding her bike down the street, just around the corner or something. Or they'll be like walking home and they'll see her like, heading off into the forest or something like that. But nobody's really talked much to
So you've just been kind of on the periphery, and every now and then there's like this almost an intersection, but it doesn't quite happen.
Yeah. But I would like to show up at Levi's place.
Okay. I think you show up on your fixie just as, oh God, and I forgot her name already. Clarice Orsman. Just as she's getting ready to climb into her little Honda Civic Hybrid, and she sees you and she's like, oh, you're that Gail girl.
Yeah. Gail, Gail Woods.
And she comes over and shakes her hand. And it's like, I don't know if you know me. Clarice Orsman. I'm the counselor at Branson High School.
No, I don't know you.
I would love it if you would come in and visit me, or I could come visit you.
I'll think about it. School isn't really my thing.
Education's very important, young lady.
Oh, I know. It's just not, I don't think I can get it in school.
Oh, yeah. I understand you're like doing some sort of unschooling type thing and just come in for like arts and select items. Is that right?
Yeah, I just always felt it was more important to be connected to the land than to, spend all my day inside a room. So, don't you worry about me. I'm getting my education, but I just don't want to do it boxed in,
That's fair. Well, I tell you what, though, I am going to give you my card. And then she writes on the back her cell number, and she puts down her Snapchat. She's like, anytime you need me, I'm available. You just never know
Okay. So I look at her card, and then I just kind of like walk off toward Levi's place.
All right.
As soon as she pulls away, I throw the card over my shoulder.
You littered?
But then I stop. And I turn around and I pick it up again and I kind of tap it. And then I put it in my back pocket and head over to Levi's door.
Right, Levi, you're still out back with your workbooks, which look kind of like young adult bullshit to you, honestly.
Great.
Very earnest. And you can hear the doorbell chime from inside.
So I'll just toss that book down on the table and we'll walk up to the door and open it up.
Well, there's Gail.
Oh, hey, Gail.
Hey, Levi, right?
Yeah. What's
So,
up?
I mean, it's been a bit and a lot's gone on, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. The town's basically on lockdown.
Yeah. Could I talk to you about something?
Yeah, you want to come in?
Yeah. I mean, inside, outside, whatever. It's fine.
I'll just like grab a bottle of water right there and I'll step outside with you then. And so there's some like Adirondack chairs or something there and go sit down there in front of the house.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, what's up?
So while you're sitting on these chairs, Gail is out on the grass or whatever, and she's got her shoes kicked off and she's doing cartwheels and just kind of like spinning around, taking in the sun. She's wearing a nice little sundress or whatever. And she's like, so something crazy happened to me.
Okay, you too?
Yeah. Do you remember you told me that you saw the Howler?
Yeah, I sure do.
Well, I saw the Howler too.
Okay.
And I wonder, do you remember about our date in the woods?
That we're going to go see where the Howler lives.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to go sometime or what? It's been a long time.
I do. I look over to where my uncle was and like, I'm going to have to sneak out. My uncle is keeping a close eye on me lately.
Ugh, guardians, am I right?
Right.
They're the worst. So,
what do you got in mind? You saw this thing and you want to go see it again?
Yeah.
What was it
amazing. It was pretty intense, okay? This thing was huge and smelly and really ugly and like just boring too, just droning on and on with that awful growl, and it just I think it tried to pinch me, okay? And I'm not here for that.
It seems like it's a lot more gentle with you than it would be with me.
Oh, you think it'd be tough with you?
Yeah, it was.
Do you like it when things are tough with you?
It gave me this. Pointed that.
I gotta ask for a roll for hot.
Roll for hot? Yeah, I saw it happen and I was like, I can't stop it. I'm not going to. Okay, so that's 8, 10.
All right. So on a 10 plus, you're going to get a string on Levi, just a regular one, not a promise one. then Levi, you get to choose one of the following. You can give yourself to Gail. You can promise something that you think Gail wants, or you can get embarrassed and act awkward.
Yep.
All of the above. I'm sorry, you can only pick one.
Okay. So this is gonna be the get embarrassed and act awkward one. But I'm like, well, no, some I do like. Okay, I don't like big things like that being rough with me. Let's go. Well, can I meet you someplace later tonight and we'll go? Or you want to go now? What do you want?
Gail says, yeah, later tonight, you promise?
Yeah.
That's great. All right, well, I guess we'll see you later, rough
Mark
boy.
that promise down, please.
That feels good.
Later that afternoon, shortly after school gets out at Hacienda Drake, you are home having your dad's famous quinoa, whatever.
Mung bean, right.
They just started sprouting. They're perfect right now.
Hey!
Kristen!
Oh, huzzah. So,
Hear anybody?
Oh,
you
no.
can't hear us?
We should probably keep talking now. So.
Yep.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay!
Huzzah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you.
So,
Sorry, Matt.
you haven't missed a whole lot. So, just to catch you up, we spent some time at the beginning recapping the previous episode. And then basically what I said is I'm skipping us ahead a week in time, and it's all the aftermath. The town is up in arms, especially the fundamentalist churches. It's all fire and brimstone, the end times, because of the gays, the liberal agenda, the socialists, everything else like that. And also a vigilante group is formed to protect the town and to drive out undesirable elements. And they are calling themselves the Bald Knobbers, which is a historical group that actually existed in the Branson area and the Ozarks, that were kind of like the counterpart to the Ku Klux Klan. And so they're good guys, but they use terroristic ways to be good guys. So I don't know how you spin that, but evidently these dudes are running around, and I don't know, maybe there's actually some women in it now, beating people up, and they're not like lighting crosses on fire or anything yet, but it's the town is feeling really tense. And then we also established that now the school counselor is serving as a grief counselor. And that counselor is Clarice Orsman, and I added a photo of her onto the classroom tab. She's down underneath the Pierces.
We still have community.
Community. Oh, Google G+, nope, history. Gone.
Okay.
So I will do this.
Oh, is it on Slack?
I just dropped a shortcut to the document in the chat. And I don't know if you've been going to school or not in this week. I'll let you make the con that your dad would have pushed for it. But you can think about that, and I'll circle back to you, and let's see. So Clarice had come to visit Levi to do some anger management for him, because it's the only way he can get back into school is if he does counseling sessions. And she basically did some slightly new agey mindfulness type stuff with him and gave him a book and a workbook to work through at his own speed. And then she bumped into Gail, who was just stopping by Levi's. And Levi and Gail chatted, and Gail turned Levi on, but she didn't touch your man yet, because you had promised to be nicer to her if she left Drake alone. And
I think Drake is mine this week, maybe, if I decide.
Joint custody. And then we had just cut over to Drake's place a little bit later in the day. And he was having his dad's famous mung bean burgers or whatever. And the doorbell has just rung, and your mom goes down to answer the door. And you hear her talking, you hear her bring someone in. And then Drake, she brings Clarice Orsman right up to the table. And she starts talking with your parents and just completely ignores you, Drake. Doesn't even acknowledge that you're sitting there talking about how these things have affected the schools. And she knows that they've called the principal with their concerns about your safety and mental health with all the stress of these horrible things that have been happening in town. And while they talk about you, it seems like all their focus is on this Clarice right now. And you actually feel really weird while this is going on. What do you do?
I'm like, look, this town's so stupid, you know, and I'm trying to like bring the attention back to me, you know, and it's like Colin, you know, Colin died, and you know, now, you know, we have to do all of this extra stuff, and we have the knob balders or whatever they are roaming the streets, and I can't go out and just like live a normal life.
And Clarice just looks up and locks eyes with you and goes, "It's not all about you, Drake." And your parents act like they didn't even turn to look at you when you spoke or have any reaction. She's like, "Drake, there's got to be a real you in there somewhere." And your parents, they look like they're just frozen in place, like time stopped around them.
I gotta.
You want to keep your cool?
Yeah, I'll keep my cool, and then if I can keep my cool, I want to gaze into the abyss.
Okay.
All right.
So let's see. Before you go and keep your cool, what's your fear? So you want to be able to gaze into the abyss and try to take her measure. It sounds like.
But I'm.
So what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid that she's gonna like have control over me. That like she's gonna I really got some kind of control over my parents.
Okay.
Let's see. And so that's cold.
Yes, please.
+1. It's a 9.
Oh, well done.
All right.
So 7 and 9. I'll tell you how your actions will leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. So I think if you stand your ground here and try to lock in and use these weird mental powers you have where you seem to be able to like kind of lock into people's surface thoughts at least, and sometimes go deeper. I think the risk here is that she might be able to go into you.
What if
You might give some stuff up?
So what if when she leaned in, it was like that? It's not all about you. Think that it was like this scent of her perfume, like Liz Taylor passion or whatever, kind of was cloying, like a thing you kind of noticed too. I don't know. I just like imagine her having this perfume. It's kind of like ugh.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do it with my -1 dark.
Okay.
It's gonna go great. What's made a 6?
6. So your eyes continue to stay locked as she's got her finger up at you. And you start to pick up just a bit of surface thought. And what you get is there is no real you under there. Is there, Drake? You're a shell, a charade. You're fake. I've met a lot of fake people. You're not even a people. She just pushes back from the table, stands up, turns around, walks out. And their parents just continue eating dinner, and they're like, really like that Miss Orsman. She's great.
And I think I'm just like I'm just like left kind of immobile and like stunned a bit, you know, like I actually am at a loss for words. And like I think maybe like there's like a bit of a time lapse where like the parents are like getting up and cleaning the table and like,
yeah, we see that
like,
scene. They're acting totally normal other than not doting on you maybe as much as usual.
And I am sort of like locked in there, like in a bit of like existential crisis.
Yeah. So what I really want to play towards is some Marty McFly, you're fading away.
Yeah.
At least that's one agenda front, whatever, that I kind of have working out there. So if you're okay, then I would like to cut over to the real star of this story.
The real monster, you mean?
The real monster, the real killer, the real deal, Shar. So Shar, in this intervening week, you haven't met up yet with this Clarice Orsman. And it's weird. It's like almost a 50-50 split among the students. You know, half of them are like, she's fantastic. You know, I feel so much better after talking to her. And the other half are like, I feel worse after talking to her. And now I'm really scared. Plus, I found out there's all this stuff wrong with me. And you keep having these like near misses where like you've been told to show up at her office at a certain time. And so you showed up, but there's a note up on the door, got called out. I apologize. We'll reschedule. So that's been really weird. There's a couple other students where that's happening too. So it's not like you're completely singled out. Students are treating you a little hands off. Olivia's not been back to school. She's back with her parents. You've heard talk that they're going to homeschool her and yank her from the school system completely. You haven't received any texts from her, any messages you've sent her. You can't tell if they've been read or not. You haven't gotten any can't deliver responses, so at least maybe that's good, unless our parents are reading everything. Your dad, while initially insanely pissed off, grounded you until you're 33 for being out yet again, being around yet another horrible event. Oh my God, that nice boy you're dating is dead. Oh my God. But in the last few days, he's kind of let that go, and he's been whistling and feeling good. And he's not even drinking as much. And he's like, you think he might be seeing someone. He's been going out. He's been dressing a little nicer for a certain value of Walmart nice. And he's not talking about your mom anymore having shown up in that video. It's like that's water. Well, not it's water under the bridge. And then he's actually comes out and admits he's dating someone. And he's like, and he says this, and he's like, oh, and she's going to be coming by in just a couple minutes to pick me up. And we're going to go see a movie. It's Friday night, we'll say. And of course, you're still grounded and aren't going out, young lady.
Of course not.
And we expect you to stay here at the house. And this woman opens the door, and it's Clarice Orsman. However, you see her, and it's your mother. Your dad's not acting like it's your mom. But that's your mom. And she looks at you. She just gives you this like really kind of penetrating look. She's like, well, you didn't tell me you had such a lovely daughter. What's your dad's name? Frank? I can't remember. Something like that.
Oh God, I don't remember.
We'll go with Frank for now. We can always fix it in post.
Okay.
Eric's going to be editing all of this into a really coherent podcast for us.
Okay, cool.
I'm on it.
So,
and she holds out her hand. She's like, so your dad talks about you all the time, Olivia. He just thinks the world of you. I mean, he's told me about some of the problems, and you know, I do still need to talk to you at school, but it is such a pleasure to meet you. And she just grabs your hand and her two hands. Are you okay? Are you all right? Frank, did you not tell her that we were dating? I mean, it's a big shock for someone who's lost their parent, for the living parent to, oh, this is awkward, isn't it? Are you okay, hon? I'm so sorry, Charlotte. This is just too much, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
I know it's a shock, and it can be really tough for teenagers to see their parents dating again.
Yeah, it is really weird to see my parents dating again.
And she looks over at Frank and she's like, you mean your father dating again? Are you okay? You look really shaken up. Can I get you a glass of water? And she just walks past you, the kitchen, and you hear a cabinet open. First try, she gets the glasses, comes back with a glass of water for you. Here you go, hon. Are you okay, Needy?
What?
I said, are you okay, hon?
You got me crushed ice in my water.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I really like crushed ice. I don't like cubes of ice, but nobody knows that. Nobody knew that.
Oh, I guess I just got lucky. I just,
But
I
my
didn't
mom-
change the setting on the freezer, so yay me.
My mom knew. She was the only one that knew.
You know, we really should get together for that counseling session. Don't you think she could use that, Frank? And he's like, oh, yeah. It's been a lot of problems. I'm really worried. And your dad just kind of goes and starts on a litany of all the ways in which you have let him down and all the poor behavior you've engaged in, and basically runs you down in the most loving way possible in front of this woman who looks just and sounds just like your mother. What do you do?
I sit there and I kind of like stew a little bit as
For the record, the chat room has suggested kill her.
Oh, I see.
But
I just got here. Don't make me ask to go in character right away. Need to build up to murder. Do you know how murder works? So I kind of wait for my dad to finish, and then the entire time I'm just like locked eyes with Clarice, like just having this like intense stare down with her that like we're both trying to hide from my dad happening, but like it's very clear to the two of us that we are watching each other, whether it's from the corner of our eye or just dead on looking at one another.
Yeah, I think that both of you are kind of turned to your dad, but you're both side-eyeing each other and really looking. You're looking at each other more directly and just have your dad in your periphery while all this negativity is just washing over you.
Yeah.
And you see her get this sad, kind of disappointed look on her face. She turns away from you and breaks that eye contact.
And then, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I turned straight to her and looking at her, but talking to my dad, I say, well, gosh, Dad, maybe I wouldn't have been so messed up if I had been raised by Mom a little bit longer. And I'm just glaring like at the side of her face.
And she looks at Frank. She's like, I understand that you're really upset with the things that have happened in yours and Char's lives. But that sort of, listen to what you said. And she repeats back the stuff to him. She's like, do you really think that's any way to help your daughter by just listing all the ways in which she's let you down and hurt others? That's not the way you do this.
I'm still looking right at her and I say, right, Dad, that's not the way Mom did it.
You know, Frank, I think a date tonight's not such a great idea. And I'm not upset, but I think you need to spend some time with the daughter. And I think I need to just get out of everyone's hair here so you two can kind of work through things, because this is a big change for Char.
I have a better idea. Why don't the three of us hang out together?
And your dad has this stricken, like, oh, what could possibly go wrong? Look, and he's like, fine. What is it you guys say? Netflix and chill?
Oh, Dad. Oh, God, no. God, Dad.
And Clarice just starts laughing. She's like, I'll make some popcorn. Where do you keep the popcorn? All right. Let's take a short break because I have had so much water to drink today. You won't believe it. And we'll pick up in just a moment. Okay.
I'm back.
I was worried you weren't going to come back, Eli. I thought you were feeling left out because I have something for you.
Didn't mean no. I'm thrilled. This story's been great tonight. I'm excited about these plastic bags.
Well, so Shar is all about reduce population, reuse plastic bags, recycle. So
Yeah, I left some compost at your last place. Yeah.
You know what? That's so great. It's good to do your part for nature, you know?
Yep.
yeah, but someone, the ME came and hauled it away.
Well, I don't have any control over that.
Yeah, that investigation is still ongoing too. But it's got sidelined by one of the super favorite youths of the school, Colin, getting killed.
May he rest in peace.
He was voted most likely to go on to an Ivy League school.
You know what I heard, though? In the autopsy, they found drugs in his system.
It is a high school.
He was a troubled kid, you know?
Oh, is that the spin now?
Oh, I thought you meant that he deserved it.
No,
so
I
do want to retcon in there a little thing, like when you hear that Colin got killed, a little thing of Drake doing the "He Had It Coming" from Chicago in front of his mirror, all happy,
wearing a corset and everything. I love it.
Yep, hot. So, Gail, that evening out at your Airstream, do you light the chimney up pretty much every night if you're staying at the Airstream?
Yeah, especially at the turn of the season like this. This is sort of the end of summer, and it's getting to the point where the evenings are starting to get a little cooler. It's really nice chimney weather, so she spends a lot of time out in that little lawn area.
And as you're sitting out by the chimney and the fireflies are flickering on and off and sending you messages of encouragement and empowerment and whatever else your little cousins do.
They're the good vibe squad.
Yep, the good vibe squad. You hear some twigs crack off at the side of the clearing, and then stepping into the light that's thrown by the chimenea, you see Clarice Orsman. She's like, aha, I knew I could find you.
It is well after school hours.
Oh, really, really? Okay, well, you seem actually pretty well adjusted compared to a lot of the other students. You seem to have something you really are focused on. That's
School routes your brain,
admirable, Gail. But I am actually trying to track down your father. And I've left him, I don't know, my goodness, it must be 15, 20 voicemails. I can't tell you how many messages I've texted to him. Postal, no response. Did you know that your father hasn't filed any homeschooling documents with the district? And if those documents don't get filed, we are going to have you come to school and attend every day with the general population.
Look, it's 9:30 p.m. What are you doing here telling me this stuff right now?
Well, you are a hard person to track down, young lady. Almost as hard as your father, who's impossible. But I just wanted you to know that I can find you. And if we don't get that paperwork, you will be coming to school because I will just find you again.
Yeah, well, good luck. Look, okay, like, I don't know if my dad didn't fill out paperwork or whatever. That's exactly like him. The dude hates bureaucracy, okay? And honestly, I can't blame him, because if this is what bureaucracy does, this is creepy. Like, I could call the cops on you right now.
Really? Well, here, she hands you her phone. 911? Go right ahead, Gail. Is that with an E on the end? That's really unusual, by the way.
Thank my parents. So Gail's going to take the phone here. And oh boy, I want to go inside the Airstream and say, I smile at her. I'll just be a minute, okay? I got to go inside and get something really quick.
Okay, you go in and close the door behind you. What are you doing?
I am going inside and waiting for a little while for my woodland friends to come to my assistance. And then when I come back outside, I want to attack her with the creatures of the forest.
Okay, well, just as you are summoning, door opens. She steps right into your sanctum sanctorum.
Excuse me, get out of here.
No.
This is my home. Get out of here.
She holds out her hand. Give me my phone back. Did you call the police? Or should I call them?
I'm going to throw the phone out the door, like just past her head.
Well, that was uncalled for.
Get out of my home. You are an intruder.
Are you an I think you might be an unsupervised youth. Maybe, well, I'm going to have to talk to Child Protection Services. Well, we will be talking, Gail, and you will be at school, or you're going to get that paperwork into me. I don't know where your father is, but if you talk to your pops, tell me Scott to get on that. Now, you have a nice night. Bye-bye.
I slam the door.
She just turns on her heel, and you slam the door right on her. Well, she's just reaching to close it, and you yank it out of her hand and slam it. And you hear, I never.
Yeah, okay. She hears,
So you were summoning your forest crew. Are you still going to set them loose on her?
Yeah, they're going to chase after her car, if nothing else, but I'd like them to get to her sooner.
What is that? Is it like rabid raccoons, porcupines, skunks, more supernatural?
Definitely going to be skunks this time. They're going to try and spray her because that takes days to get over. Yeah, it's going to be skunks.
So you have this sense of them converging on her, and you just suddenly hear these screams of animals in agony.
Oh.
And then just total silence. Everything stops in the forest. No cicadas going anymore, no crickets, no owls, no birds. The wind has stopped. And you just hear off in the distance, behave, young lady.
Oh no.
And when you heard that, there is like this really cold presence. You felt him pinch on you, and then just gone like nothing. Everything's back.
Is it cool if I roll up then?
That would be perfect.
And just go, hey, Gail.
So you come up on this clearing, right? That's got the Airstream trailer, and it's got the chimney and the little Adirondack chairs, but they're like frontier Adirondacks, you know, they're like unworked wood and that sort of thing.
Oh, rough hewn.
Yeah. And there's this tree in the yard that's always kind of it always seems to be like the best example of the season. So here at the end of summer, it's like this really brilliant pale green leaves. And Yeah, you don't see Gale anywhere. The chimney is smoking, but Gale is still inside the Airstream.
Are the lights on inside the Airstream, or a light on?
I think they turn on shortly after Levi announces his presence.
So what do you do, Levi?
Stroll up to the Airstream, gonna run my hand along the bark of that tree, and then knock on the door of the Airstream. Hello?
That tree, just real quick, as you run your hand along it, it's really interesting. You pick up so many different scents, including shars, and just like tons of scents. And some of them, they kick off that memory of the scents you picked up in the woods when you were chasing the howler. That's mixed in there. Lots and lots of people. You don't know who those are. You can't put faces with those scents, but it's really interesting. And like scents of different locations, like with great geographical diversity. It's just, it like freezes you for a half step, and then your hind brain just keeps on processing. Carry on.
Knock.
You hear stomping across the inside of the Airstream, and the stomping seems to go on for a little bit longer than you would expect for the size of the Airstream.
Yeah.
But
time?
all of a sudden the door flies open. It's like, I told you to. Oh, right, Levi. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm really frazzled right now. Are we doing something tonight?
Is that a shutdown?
No. I'm sorry. I just had a really weird experience, and like, you ever feel like somebody like walks over your grave?
No, not exactly. That's got to be horrible. And I'm still like, you see, like, as I say that, I like sniffed my hand again. Like,
pretty much without missing a beat.
Just had a great day.
not like that, but maybe you take it. Maybe it looks like he's like smelling his breath. Like I got my mouth open and I'm like breathing in.
As you do that, Gail's next words are, I just kind of felt like I was like decaying in the forest and mushrooms were bursting from my chest. It was really, really weird.
That's very vivid. Well, do you want to do this another time then? I mean,
no. You promised.
Yeah, and I'm here.
Okay, good.
Just a funny thing. When you saw the howler, was it here?
No.
Huh.
Why?
I just get a sense of that it's here. Or it's
here. It is a forest, but I saw it like a different part of the forest.
So, you're going to show me yours, then I'll show you mine.
Roll hot, please. For the most awkward, whatever the hell that was.
I'm rolling it? All right.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Ooh, 9.
Yeah, I think that's a 10.
Wow, that worked.
Yeah, that's a 10. So you get a string on Autumn.
Autumn.
No, in a few days, I guess it'll be Autumn. Meadow. And then, Gail, you get to choose one of the following. You can give yourself to Levi. You can promise Levi something you think he wants, or you can get embarrassed and act awkward, which is inconceivable after that smooth pickup line.
Yeah, right. Man, I think acting awkward makes the most sense after that, but I really want to have a Fae promise somebody something else. I'm trying to think of anything that could be like, what would I think Levi wants? I'm wondering, like, okay,
Well,
so
he was just talking about whether the Howler was here. He's obviously very interested. I mean, you've already told him you're going to take him to the Howler.
There's
Mhm.
the Howler, and then your dad wants you to find out more about me. There's that's going on. I'm just trying to throw out some stuff that's going on, not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe Gail, her jaw kind of drops when you say that for a second, and then she just starts laughing, and she laughs for a little while, and then she's like, smooth one, tough guy. Rough guy is what I meant to say. Rough guy. Look, we should probably, yeah, let me just get my jacket and we can go, okay?
Yeah, I'm here. Let's do this.
So, yeah, she runs inside, she grabs her jacket. It's very twee. And we head off into the forest. And I think the promise is something that I'm going to ask, or I'm going to give you in a scene, if that's okay. I don't know where we're going with it, but I know that, like, right now it's not like I can just say, hey, I promised a blank, you know?
Right. So you're going to issue a promise at some point as things play out.
Yeah, that's my
Thing maybe like
a promissory note.
Yeah. I'm giving you a promissory note for the promise.
So I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, so are we like, I'll get my coat and then there's like a cutaway and then we'll have a scene later where that promise happens, are you thinking? Or
yeah, like we're walking through the forest talking and stuff. Yeah. So, and I think I know what I want to do with that too. So we're walking through the forest, and Gail is a lot shorter than Levi, like substantially so. Just it's a real, like, David and Goliath sort of situation going on right now. And I think Gail's like, so how is it getting away from your place?
it's good. My uncle's been on my back. That crazy grief counselor gave me this stupid notebook to work through my feelings.
Oh my God, the grief counselor. Okay, look. I just had an experience. Okay, I told you that. I was really shaken when you answered the door, remember?
Yeah. And
that grief counselor
yeah.
is up to some weird stuff, okay? First of all, she came to my house at 9:30 at night.
That's a little late.
It's way late. I don't feel safe, okay? But not only that, she threatened me. And okay, look.
Like to fight you?
So, like, life is hard right now, you know? I mean, like, a lot of people are dying and a lot of people are angry and that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And it's hard. And I am not here for it. I want, like, an anchor in this moment, okay?
Uh-huh.
What do you want?
I need to find out what happened to my mom.
To your mom?
Yeah, she's in the hospital.
Oh.
something attacked my house and killed my stepdad. She's in the hospital. So I need to find out what happened.
Oh, wild. Do you think it's the Howler?
I do.
Okay, look. If I promise you that I will help you get to the bottom of that, will you keep a secret for me?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, here's the deal. I don't know who my mom is. I never really knew her ever. I've been raised by my dad this whole time, and sort of raised anyway, and sort of by my dad. It's kind of complicated. You see, it's also been like surrogates, you know. It's been like my uncle and my aunt and a few other, you know, relatives like that, and like cousins, and like they're all pretty weird, right? I mean, every family member is weird, right? In their own way. It's like every family has its quirks, and it's like, you know, whatever. But my family's got some serious quirks, okay? And we're walking through the we're walking through the forest at this point, and I think we're getting close, even without you. Like, maybe you're guiding us toward this place, wherever. And as we cross into this clearing where the Howler was spotted by you originally, she's like, you know, like my cousin Deer, or like my cousin Sparrow, or whatever. You know, like they helped a lot in like raising me and like teaching me, you know, how to do a lot of stuff.
Is this the secret?
Well, yeah. I mean, like my cousin is a deer.
Like real sweet guy.
No. I mean, like, my cousin has 4 hooves and grows antlers every year and fights other antlered deer to get mating rights over, you know, the other deer. And that's my cousin.
Oh, my uncle's a bear.
You think he's into guys?
Actually, I don't think he has a preference. But no, you know, he's sometimes a bear.
Like a bear?
Yeah.
Oh. So, like, here's the deal. This is why I'm really having a hard time tonight. Okay. Your uncle's a bear. My cousin is a deer, and I'm pretty sure I just heard my cousin die.
Jesus. Well, we don't have to go see the Howler now.
No. I think we need to see the Howler because I don't feel safe.
And the Howler's gonna. I'm really not connecting the dots here.
So your uncle is a bear.
Yeah.
And you're a bear.
Yeah. Sometimes.
And my uncle is the Howler.
Okay, let's cut away.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, Drake.
Yes.
What does Drake do after the worst family dinner he's had in ages?
Oh. Well, I think that, so like Drake goes back up to his room and he like gets his guitar out and he's trying to play, and just like everything sounds like wrong and lame and like it's not original. And so like he just like throws it down in disgust. And I think that like at some point he's just like pacing back and forth, and he just has to like get out. And so he like sneaks out of the house.
So where are you heading off to, Drake?
I think he needs some like
probably some validation of how
that's what I was thinking.
Where are you going to attempt to get that?
I think I am going to text Charlotte while I'm
So right in the middle of Netflix and chill with her dad and Clarice / mom. What's the message, Drake?
It's like, hey, can you get away? And not like acknowledging that we haven't really spoken in like a week.
Bing.
And I pull out my phone and look at it, and I look at my dad. Is Clarice still?
Ash, you're sandwiched between them. It's awesome.
So
it's okay, hon. Go ahead and answer your friend.
Okay.
She's kind of like trying to look down at your phone.
And I like elbow her kind of out and like, for you, winky face, kissy face. Sure thing.
So real quick, Shar, one thing it did notice as you're sitting there and you have this popcorn and whatever else, and she even smells like your mom, like the way you remember your mom smelling. It's so unsettling. You just probably, it's a lot emotionally to process. So you say you're gonna go meet up with Drake. What are you gonna do now that you said you will?
I think like, so I get up and like I say I'm just gonna grab some more water, and I go into the kitchen and like pretend to fill up my glass and take a drink, and I come back into the living room and I say, just like totally nonchalant, like, hey mom, can I go meet Drake?
And your dad turns around and is like, oh honey. And Clarice's head just rotates without her body moving the full 180. And she looks at you and she just gives you a wink and kind of a leering smile. Then her head goes back and you just hear her say, oh, Frank, give her a little slack.
And I kind of have like a sly look on my face for like a half beat, and then I get this like really sincere, emotional, fake as hell look on my face. You know, I'm so sorry. It's been a really weird and emotional week, and I need my friends, and I can't be here anymore. Dad, can I go, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Clarice is right. It can't be a hard ass all the time, but by God, you will be home by 11, right? Right?
Right.
And who are you meeting? We've talked about this.
Drake.
Oh, okay. No more deaths, okay? Just kidding. And Clarice is like, oh, that's not funny, is it, Shar? And she just looks at you.
And I like bound over and I like give my dad a hug and a kiss on the cheek, which is very uncharacteristic for me.
He looks like really surprised.
And I grab my stuff and I go to the door, and as I'm like closing it behind me, like, thanks, Dad, thanks, Mom. I close the door.
End of episode.
Oh.
Oh, I've been waiting to drop this stuff. I've had a lot of these little things queued up. I just didn't know where I was going to work them in.
You just crammed them all. Like, this feels like the mid-season turnaround. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, ratings were kind of going down, so we had to turn up the heat. We're going to throw away some subplots that weren't going anywhere.
There was one producer who said, it really freaks people out when heads turn around.
Yeah.
And I wanted to. So what I am doing, obviously, is trying to have someone who's impacting all of you.
Yeah.
In a negative way. So I want to find a way to start getting the lives to cross over a bit more. I'm not looking to always have 4-person scenes because those can be really hard to do, but it's a lot more interesting if you have shared experiences for the characters to be dealing with.
Sure.
Yep.
So if you guys have any thoughts on what you think would be cool to play towards or whatever, I am down with it. I loved everything you guys did tonight. It was fantastic. It was so nice to be playing again.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hated Clarice like immediately, and it just got worse. So you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm just trying to push all the buttons that I can. Actually, Levi is the hardest because Gail always had I'm just going to move my trailer. No one can find me. And like, oh no, honey. So I'm
like,
not.
When you're saying Levi was the hardest to get involved with Clarice,
to try to get under the skin, because it was really easy for her to mash big, huge red buttons with the other characters.
I think it's kind of cool if like she's really digging into the others for a little bit, and she just like for a while, for me, it's just another stupid school authority figure until I see something.
Yeah.
So
I definitely want to get that worked in though, so that you're all on kind of this.
Right. Especially because like if you push too hard on Levi, he like leaves the scene for a while.
Yes, yeah. If I push him into Darkest Self, he's just gonna rage and leave or whatever. Well, yeah. So, see, no one died except for some of Gail's extended family, and they were distant relations. So
he was my math tutor. I wasn't
circle
super
of life.
upset. It was just shocking.
Yeah,
probably because I was late.
Oh, Kevin,
yes.
Maybe if you can incorporate Brittany with her, maybe that would be a good way to get it.
Yeah.
And then we'll have like this, we have this Capulet Montague with the Fays and the werewolves happening.
I love it. It'll be like Underworld, but mixed with Avatar.
Yeah.
Wait, which Avatar?
The bad one.
Okay. I'm assuming we all agree which one that is. So.
Yeah.
The colonial version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
By the way, has anybody seen the announcement about how they're treating race in the Colonial Gothic revised edition?
No.
It's being made by the same guy who made Zweihander. And
okay.
He made an announcement like 3 days ago on the website about what representation is going to look like in the setting. And it's interesting. I don't know that I come down one side or the other on it just yet.
So does he have some decent consultants helping him to get into the right place?
Well, mostly from what I see, he's just acknowledged that racism and slavery was a thing in colonial America, and it was a bad thing, but they're not going to misrepresent it. And they're going to, like, the nature of the world is that you are sort of underdogs who are uniting to take over something. So they kind of inherently work against that anyway. And I'm like, well, the first part is great, acknowledging that you've done a lot of research and you want to represent the world with fidelity. But then the second part, saying that, like, so fuck that, we solved racism. It's like, well, maybe not.
I'm hoping it looked, I just glanced at it and it looked reasonably nuanced. I just discovered during April TTRPG Maker that Daniel Fox is Daniel Little Fox, and that he is some Native American.
Oh, I had no idea.
I didn't either.
Well, okay.
So hopefully that will inform what's going on there.
Yeah, I hope so too. Didn't realize he was even doing that meme.
But Kristen, I'm glad you made it, even if it was only for a little while.
Oh, I've been the first thing I came up with, Clarice Orsman, is that I wanted her to present to you as your mother. I wanted so badly for that, and then for your dad to be just like la la, totally clueless.
Yeah, so. That's great. I love it. I'm very excited about where this will go.
I'm pretty sure there'll be death.
Probably. I mean, I am involved. Hey, quick question. So for my advancement, I can take any from any other character if I feel like it's good for my character.
Yeah, you can go through. So out in that folder that I shared in the chat here, there's the basic core skins, and then there's also that second skins that was an official add-on that was approved. And there's some.
Can I consult the group?
Oh yeah. Crowdsourcing is always super valuable. Everyone can talk about how cool things can be to play into certain themes that those set up. Yeah.
So I was looking at the second skins, and there are a few that jumped out at me that I thought would be good for my character. One of them is from The Neighbor, and it's Spooked, which is when you run into someone's arms, they choose either I mark experience or they become their darkest self.
Oh my God.
Even more of a walking bomb.
Oh my God.
And the other one, which I'm only pointing out, not for the potential sexual innuendo, but more because it's always raining or I'm finding myself in a fountain of some sort. There's one for the
Selkie.
Selkie. That's the siren song. When you're soaking wet, you can sing a haunting song. Those who hear it give you their full attention.
Oh my God, maybe you join Drake's band.
Right? So either
there's a lot of ways, or the honey beeps come after you now that they lost Colin. I both of those are pretty cool. Group thoughts?
I like the first one really well.
Same.
Yeah. I also like mixed messages from The Neighbor. When you're alone with someone, decide if you're attracted to them or not. If you are, tell them why you can't be together and roll to shut them down, adding 1 to the roll. If you're not, tell them all the things they've got going for them and roll to turn them on.
God.
So, oh man.
It's like an overshare almost.
It's the story of my high school.
Seriously.
But like being the victim that's the instigator, like
right, and plus,
is really good for the first one that you mentioned.
yeah, spooked can tie in beautifully with that the mortal thing where sticking your nose where it doesn't belong and getting in trouble, and then because you're in trouble, you're spooked and run into someone's arms, and
Yes. Yes. All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do spooked.
Nice.
Cool.
let's see. And I had put a doodle out there. I don't remember. Has everyone participated in that yet?
Oh, I don't know if I did.
Yeah. So I added the bot for Doodle into our Slack, so it should be accessible to all of you. There's a scheduled channel that should have that in it.
I've got the schedule channel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I know several people had
I get that yet.
and I think I've got it turned on now too. Yeah, I still need Jeremy and you, Kristen.
I'll
And I need to reach out to Jim and just see if he thinks he might be able to pop in for whatever we come up with. If nothing else, I'd like to have Colby every now and then send you guys some text messages or something from burner phones.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at it and then get going. I'm going to have to get going. I have to finish 5 costume renderings by tomorrow morning.
Oh, exciting.
Theater homework.
All right. Well, I had such a good time, everyone.
Yeah, it was really good.
So
It
much
was nice to be back.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Just hanging out with everyone was a blast. Have
Thanks
a good
to-
evening, all.
Thanks to everyone. Yeah. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.